Doom vivamus vivamus Epicureans. This is the Marvel Epic Collection Podcast one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'll be joined by Stojr in just a moment. We are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our brief issues on today's issue, our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Marvel Fanfare number 3, Oh no, I didn't put the title in, I just put 3 X's in, which tells me I need to go back and fix it. Boy, I have just failed with the slides on these last couple of episodes, haven't I? Alright, well I've got the physical version in front of me. This is Into the Land of Death. And rather than have my mistake up there, let's go ahead and just go to the comic viewer. And you can actually see that full cover in all its glory instead of just the front part. It's a double-sided cover there, right? You get the back cover and the front cover. Really nice looking there. Okay. Oh, I did not write credits in my notes either. Gosh, let's fix that. Okay. Let's see. Into the Land of Death, written by Chris Claremont, pencils by Dave Cockrum, inks by Bob McLeod. Alright, so the X-Men fly down to the Antarctic and surprisingly do not crash land when they get there. They meet up with Angel, who briefs them on the previous 2 issues, and they then enter the Savage Land to try to find Karl Lykos. This is after an earthquake damages the UN base which had been established on the perimeter of the Savage Land. They soon find the mutants that Angel fought in the previous issue, and they prove to be too much for the X-Men too, particularly when Sauron appears to use his hypnotism against them. Well, only the Angel manages to escape, the rest are captured, brought into Garrock City, and they're about to be experimented on using the same evolution machine that we saw in the previous issue. Now, I will admit that I'm enjoying this trip to the Savage Land. I like the different setting and the visuals of it. It's really making me want to have a Khazar epic someday. I think that would be great if we ever got that. The story itself isn't too different from what we've seen already, but getting to see Dave Cockrum's approach to similar beats is kind of interesting. I like how he drew Vertigo on page 312. Let me see if I can pull that up here on the comic viewer. 312. Here we go. 312. Having all those kind of pastel colors with the X-Men in the background, clearly being delirious, but having those rays come out from her when she has her arms out, kind of like the Vitruvian Man, the Da Vinci drawing. I thought that was just well done. That's really neat. The reveal of Sauron on page 316 is great too, mostly the coloring here. Now, I admit I try to avoid commenting on the coloring because the process on the old comic magazines used for halftone printing is different than we have in this modern stuff. All right, colorists back in the day could play with that method to get different effects, but our modern printers tend to have better resolution, and hence we don't see the dots in these remastered editions, but you would see them in the original comics. So I'm kind of hesitant to comment on colors because it might look different in the originals. However, Al Milgrom in the intro talks about the better quality of paper and printing in this magazine. Now, I will admit I've not seen the originals, but I suspect the printing quality of Marvel Fanfare might have been a bit better. This was a magazine that was only sold at the direct market, and it cost a bit more. You can see the price. Well, you can't see the price because I don't have the cover up, but the price, the cover price is $1.25, when the cover price of just regular X-Men comics at this time was 50 cents. All right, so that's a significant markup. Granted, I think Marvel Fanfare is a longer magazine too, but I think it had better printing to it. Anyway, this is a long way around saying that I love how the colored sky behind Sauron fades from yellow into red. The X-Men in the foreground are just kind of a monotone shade of blue-gray or blay. And that really draws your eye to Sauron at the top. So shout-outs to Glynis Wynn for the colors in this one. I think these were really well done. One last thought. We saw in the last issue that the devolving machine turned Spider-Man into a giant spider, and Angel turned into Chicken Boo. Well, at the very end of this issue, we see that Colossus is being subjected to the de-evolution machine. So, if Spider-Man turned into a spider and the Angel turned into a chicken, what does the man made out of steel turn into? Does he turn into a lump of iron? Will he become the Iron Man? Obviously, we already have an Iron Man, so probably not. But anyway, I'm curious. We'll see what happens. All right, those are my thoughts. Let's hand this back over to Stojr and get his ideas on what's happening here, and I'll come back in a moment to wrap things up.
Marvel Fanfare number 3, really cool wraparound cover for this issue with Sauron in the background, the amphibious, toad guy. Well, I can't really call him Toad. He's more of a frog because we have a Toad character. And the X-Men fighting in the Savage Land. So I think this is a really cool cover for this issue. Diving into the art, we have Dave Conkrum here. And I think Dave's knocking it out of the park in this issue. I think that Blackbird flying through the snowstorm, the X-Men characters all look really solid here. I think it's strong usage of Storm's powers here and kind of illustrating visually how she is tapping into the storm here and trying to tame something. But while at the same time, there's something completely off about this. We get a very quick recap, about a page and a half of the previous Marvel Fanfare issues as Angel fills them in on Spider-Man and everyone here. I think it's interesting that we're just going to gloss over the fact that Peter Parker changed into a giant spider, and we're going to pretend like we don't know that he's Spider-Man. I guess that would make a little bit more sense if the giant spider wasn't wearing Spider-Man's costume. If he just changed into a spider on his own. But he had the costume, which is a little fishy, but we're just going to kind of keep going with that. The X-Men are in this sort of this base here, this military installation that's very, seems overly complicated, but it is nice to see as an earthquake hits them sort of helping out the military personnel, and not just kind of running away and chasing the bad guy, so to speak, or diving deeper into the Savage Land. They're stopping to assist out with some of that stuff. The fact that we got this sort of Savage Land mutant team here bodes well because it gives us a spot for the X-Men to fight, both Vertigo, Barbarous, and the amphibious person. I think that's his name, Amphibious. I kind of like that little frog guy. He's kind of a bit of a dick, and giving it to Wolverine as well as as he's locked up and their prisoner, also telling Storm he's going to sort of kill her eventually. But as they get closer here, Sauron captures them a little bit too easily, which is explained in a few pages. And you get Angel running away in fear, which seems a little odd, but I guess plays into the fact that he's got some PTSD with these characters from the past and is able to sort of fight past the hypnosis a little bit. And just run away scared. Got an interesting last panel with a cliffhanger here of Angel, saying "you" as he's shouting because somebody's there to help him. Who could that be? I guess the only thought process here is that is Spider-Man around for some reason? Otherwise, it's got to be Kazar. Who else is it going to be? We're in the Savage Land. So good issue. I really like Cockrum's art throughout this. I like the X-Men in the Savage Land with some people. They're not just fighting dinosaurs here. They got kind of a mutant team of people that they're able to fight against. And again, looking forward to wrapping this up in the next issue. I think it wraps up in the next issue, so we can get back to Uncanny X-Men proper. But not hating on this storyline at all. I think it's a fun 4-parter. Here to kick off Marvel Fanfare. I think it makes a lot of sense to have these characters here. You're going to get your X-Men, you're going to get your dinosaurs, you even got a Spider-Man cameo. It's a really good way to launch a book. Looking forward to how we wrap this up next issue.
All right, thank you, Stojr, and thank you, the audience, for watching and listening. We'll be back again tomorrow with another one-shot, and you can check us out on YouTube, where we post the episode schedules and currently have a poll for you to choose which Epic Collection we will read and review in March. Check that out, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you like what we're doing. I put Stojr and my link trees in the description if you ever want to find us on the internet. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time for another episode that will be just as epic.